Jaxson, how important is it for you personally and for the team to snap this losing streak in the final few games of the season?
Extremely important, and excited for a good test this week.
You hear a lot about Flores' scheme. When you turn on the tape, what jumps out to you?
Just chaos. Chaos. Just trying to disguise different looks and bring a whole bunch of different pressures. But they're organized in the back end too, so they do it soundly.
How do you keep your spirit up? And do you also try to do that for your teammates, just to keep the energy going and the positivity?
Yeah, I just want to win bad. I mean, that's just really what it comes down to. We're all eager, like we just want that feeling again. So, we're looking for it. We're trying to find answers, and the biggest thing is just like you said, try to keep the spirits up and encourage everybody in the locker room. And we still got 3 weeks left, so it'll be really big for us to try to stack on this as a team. You only have so many opportunities with the guys in that locker room, so you definitely want to take advantage of it.
Jaxson, the HBO cameras and microphones caught the Commanders talking about you. You're probably aware of that. Said a bunch of things, which I'm sure teams always talk about when they talk about. But one of the things they said was, we can get the ball off him.
They got a pick off me. I haven't really been a turnover heavy player my whole entire career, so I think that's just one thing that coaches say in every single meeting. It doesn't matter what team you're on, that conversation goes up in every single team meeting.
I mean, when you heard that, and you heard, treat him like a running back. He's not going to do this. Not you've heard all this already, but just hear it out there. I mean, I get it that people talk about the other team and how they can attack them. Did any of that what you heard, make you think twice or make you think, well, why are they saying this?
No, absolutely not. Kirby Smart said the exact same thing every time that he played against me. So did Nick Saban. So did every coach that I played in college. So this is nothing new. Just try to go out there, play smart, and be available for your team.
What did they say? Did they say stuff like he's not going to slide, you have to hit him? I mean, what kind of stuff did Kirby Smart and Nick Saban?
I can't put together exactly what they said, but there was definitely a lot of interviews that you guys can we can all go back and look at, and this isn't like a new thing that's been brought up in my career.
And fire you up a little?
Huh?
Are you watching Hard Knocks?
No, I'm not. I got a lot of other things to worry about.
Does that fire you up at all anymore, Jaxson, when you hear the opposition saying this? Like, does it kind of get you going even a little bit more?
It just gets me excited.
Yeah.
Just as a competitor, you want to go out there and compete, and obviously, like, they're acknowledging respect, in a way too. I appreciate that. You want to go out there and play really good for your team, and I think any time that there's teams that are game planning and they definitely give respect to a player, I think it's for a reason, and we do the exact same thing for when we go against defenses. So that just competitive atmosphere is the best one to play in for sure.
Calf talked a little bit about, again, going back to the idea of going against this defense, having answers play to play against this team and knowing what you have and kind of build that in. Has that grown in what you've been able to see on a game day, to have more answers for defenses as you guys have progressed through the season?
Yeah, I think obviously this week is a little bit different just because of what Coach Flores does on their side of the ball. So you got to have an answer every single play. But ever since I was put into this role, that was the same thing. You always have to have answers to certain pressures, to certain blitzes. So that doesn't really change anything. It's just more it's just more frequent. With what their defense does.
Does it change the way you approach your preparation? Like, I know you put a lot of time in anyway, but you know what's the challenge this week. So do you watching more? Are you watching? Do you go further back with Flores?
Yeah.
How do you approach it?
You definitely got to go further back into what he does, because his bag is deep, and you got to be prepared for it. It's not like different teams where you can kind of watch like more of the most recent games to see how they've been calling it. Like him, he'll go all the way back to how he schemed something up against this offense years ago and where he found success. So you definitely got to go back in the archives a little bit, but at the same time you can't crowd your mind too much. Eventually you got to go out there and you just got to play ball.
Mike was saying that he believes you like hearing from him before the headset gets cut off. You know what I mean? I guess some guys maybe are like, okay, what do you like about that? Is that true? Do you like getting as much input as possible before you're kind of out there on your own?
Yeah, I like communication, same way that I had it, in college, and you just want to go out there and just be as prepared as you can. Majority of all the quarterbacks that I know are the exact same way, and you like to get the information and be able to go out there and just process it and make adjustments that need to be made.
Are you looking, Jaxson, for more information or confirmation of what you're seeing? Like if Mike is telling you something that you're seeing as well, is that kind of what you prefer, the confirmation or new information, different information?
That's hard. I mean, it cuts off in our ear. So a lot of times, by the time we get set, he's not able to see it too. It's more just like, we all get reminders of if we get this certain look, let's alert it to this, let's kill it to this. So it's really just, reminders for each play, and that just kind of comes in through the play call.
Jaxson, you talked about how much you hate losing, and obviously a lot of the guys on this team, they've been through it with this team. But just your first time seeing this group, how have you seen the veterans handle this season with losing? How has that kind of like inspired you just to keep competing, knowing that they're trying to compete as well too?
Yeah, I think that I definitely have an optimistic perspective on where this place is going to be eventually, and I think that every road is not the same, so you're going to face some struggle, but I know that when we get to a certain point, like I'm going to appreciate a lot of the adversity that was faced, because you're going to enjoy and understand like how hard it is to win in this league. So I'm definitely optimistic, and fortunately for me, I'm really young, so there's time to make adjustments, and obviously we want it now, and a lot of things haven't really gone our way this year, but I know that eventually we're going to reach the place that we want to be. For the vets, I know it's really hard for them, because a lot of the guys, they've experienced this for consecutive years, and I think the biggest thing is, for a lot of us young guys, we're telling them like, eventually like this is going to turn around and it's going to all be worth it. So, I think that we just have a really mature team, and it's definitely hard, but we're trying our best to overcome it and take the right mindset for steps forward.
When you watch film, what do you like about what you're doing out there, and where do you think you still need to improve?
I think there's a ton of places to improve. I'm still getting the hang of this game. It's just a complete step up from the college level, and there's a lot of adjustments that need to be made. So I feel like I have a ton of growing to continue to do, which is exciting, but at the same time, you want to be perfect, and you want to execute things the right way, and to win every opportunity that you have. So I understand that more reps and more experience, I'm going to continue to get better. But from a film study purpose, you got to be like even killed. You can't be too high, too hot, or too low with your emotions, and you got to be process driven, like I've said before, just constantly trying to get better.
Going back to the last question, you've expressed that sentiment a few times. What gives you the optimism that this will improve? I guess what do you see within the building and the team?
Well, I think that we have like some really good players on our team. That's one thing, and we haven't had a game where it's like we can't compete with anybody. We've been able to compete and bring it to the wire against some of the best teams in the league. We just haven't been able to finish, and at the same time, another reason why I'm optimistic is a lot of us are really young, and we're gonna have a ton of time to continue to get better with each other, and we got some guys who I think are dogs, and I think it's just obviously we've had some injuries, we've had some things here and there, and you got to control what you can control, but at the same time, I kind of the view of what it can be. We have pieces who are elite pieces, and we just need to fine tune things here and there, and we're gonna get there.
Jaxson, last one. What do you attribute to how this offense has been able to drive so well? Obviously, not having Malik for you, but just you have still been able to put up points. Wandell's having a great year. Tracy, Scat, and Slay, obviously. What do you attribute that to why this offense has been able to kind of, still click in some ways without Malik?
Yeah, well, you definitely can't replicate Malik. He's the best receiver in the NFL, in my opinion. So, but I think that guys have done a good job of stepping up. We don't have a ton of like MAs. Usually for us, like we're on the same page. We play in sync together, and we got to capitalize on some more opportunities that we have consistently. But I think that we've done a good job of kind of the next man up mentality, and guys have been able to play really hard. And I think that that's one thing that, when you watch the tape, I think that, our guys, like we play hard together, and we really compete at a high level.